Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Wrack City Bitch. I am Big Deno and today I'm going to talk about someone you might have noticed last episode when I was talking about Fiora. I was a bit down. It's because I'm not excited to play Fiora 1. I don't know, not all that interesting for me. Whenever I start a faction I seem to gravitate towards a couple of really casters that really interest me and make me want to play them. And eventually I'll usually play all the casters, and sometimes ones that I wasn't expecting I'll have a lot of fun with. But Fiora was not one of the ones that initially I said, hell yeah, I'm going to play the shit out of that caster. But this guy I'm going to talk about today is one that I'm super excited to play because I think he's possibly underrated in today's meta. That is High Executioner REZNIK. Menoth names are the coolest. So I'm just bringing up REZNIK's card as we speak, and I can tell you a couple of things that I know off the top of my head. He has a fairly respectable stat line. Speed 5 is pretty standard for Menoth casters. Defense 14, not great, but standard for Menoth casters. Armor 17, very good for Menoth casters. That's equal highest along with the Fioras, I believe. I haven't even looked at Epic REZNIK yet. Does he have 18? Maybe, I'm not sure. Mat 7, pretty good. He has, you can bring a Wrack into play, which is, you know, whatever, cool. And then Purgation, which is extremely useful ability if you ever get to make an attack against a model with an upkeep spell on it. Most of your opponents would probably avoid doing that. So he has Engine of Destruction, which is pretty massive. Same spell that Fiora has, but on this guy I think it's actually a little bit more useful because you want to sort of play him upfield. You want to play him a little bit aggressively and be up in people's face. I think he's probably going to go best against War Machine, but I'll talk about his feat in a moment, but I think he's got some game against Hordes as well. So Purgation, boosted attack and boosted damage roll is pretty awesome. Especially when you're Mat 7 and Power 14 with Reach. If you, of course, cast Engine of Destruction on yourself, then you are, in fact, Power 18, and you could also potentially have upkept Ignite, because Engine of Destruction is not an upkeep. So you could potentially be Power Strength 20 against a model with an upkeep on it. You could have three attacks all boosted, so that'll definitely get some work done. That's obviously not something you're going to do in most cases because you're probably going to be putting a fair bit of focus into Warjacks. Now he's also got Iron Aggression, which is a really good Warjack upkeep, and for Menoth who have some extremely good Warjacks, it's pretty awesome. Now one thing you immediately pick up on about Iron Aggression is it's not a member of his battle group, so you could also have the avatar with Iron Aggression. He doesn't really need the boosted attack rolls because he's Mat 10, but getting a free charge actually nets him. It gives you a little bit of leeway if you roll a 2 or a 3 for the number of focus you get. It gives you an extra attack that could sometimes make all the difference. So yeah, it's probably not a bad target for the Avatar, to be honest. But, I mean, the Avatar is probably not going to be in this list because the other one of REZNIK's really awesome rules is Witch Hound. He has, if you've ever played Kalissa, you know that Witch Hound, if you forget about it, it'll usually end the game for you. Like, you cast a spell and like a model like a Banshee can walk forward or walk backwards and shoot you with his gun to knock you down, ending your activation, or you know, like there's lots of things that can happen which can be really ball busting. Blocking line of sight to your caster, if they're going for an assassination run, start off by casting a spell on you to try and knock you down. It's fine. Walk a Warjack in front of your caster and all of a sudden there's not all that much happening anymore. So it's got some really, like, I think most people would actually err on the side of not casting spells on it because they don't want to give you extra threat range, which is a win, you know. If you're not having to worry about a harm from Ayana, if you're not having to worry about like a stranglehold, it's a significant advantage, I think. It obviously doesn't work for Judicator. which makes Judicator probably not a good choice for REZNIK. But the other spell that makes REZNIK fairly Warjack friendly is Perdition. Now, I played a lot of E-Scar when I was playing Crix, and I used the shit out of Perdition, and it was fucking awesome. She's got a few things that make it a bit more reliable on her, which is namely Focus 7 and the ability to boost after the roll. You don't have that option here. You've got to basically just raw dog it, which is a bit risky. So it becomes a 3 focus spell, and then against most targets you're going to want to boost damage because you need to score some damage. So in a sense it becomes a 4 focus spell, which means you're not putting focus onto your Warjacks. So it's a bit of a catch-22 there. There'll be situations where you can get it off. You know, sometimes there'll be guys that you've knocked down, and you can automatically hit them while they're knocked down. And you know, armor 14, 15. There's a lot of models out there with only armor 14 or 15 that you can probably sneak it. I'm actually just gonna have a look. I don't know if Menoth have access to Reinhold for Lucky Charm. Off the top of my head, I wouldn't have thought so, because he's a little goblin. But I'm just gonna check that because I never played Menoth. Got no fucking idea. Menoth, create. War Room's really good, by the way. If you haven't got War Room, I highly recommend getting it. Merc Minion Solos. So no Reinhold. Taran, how awesome's that? Never been able to use Taran before. Rupert Carvalho, Piper Award. So there's no re-rolling ability things that you can put into your list, which is a shame. You could have Gorman to drop their defense by 4 with a blind bomb. Sort of an early use for him. That would be alright. Yeah, look, if you can manufacture a situation where Perdition works, it is going to be friggin' awesome. If you cannot manufacture that situation, then it's probably a waste of 4 focus. But every now and then, being able to move one of your Warjacks an extra 4 or 5 inches to net them an effective 15-inch threat range is going to be incredible. So I think the Warjacks you want to go for, this is the same as a Mon. You want fast Warjacks. You want speed 5 Warjacks. You want Warjacks with reach. Speed 5 with reach is probably the ideal, the gold standard. Hey, Reckoner. But there's probably a few other Warjacks that I think I'll have a look at. Fire of Salvation's actually probably a good one, because he kind of gets a Perdition by himself. Because if a dude dies within 5 inches of him, he gets that free Perdition, which is good. You get a Witch Hound's move as well. All of a sudden he's going 20 inches in a turn. Ridiculous. But the one I'm sort of looking at the moment is Blood of Martyrs. Speed 5 base, nothing special. Doesn't get sidestep because it's not with Thyra. But with Righteous something, I think. Whatever that ability is called. I'm going to tell you what it's called. It is called Hand of Vengeance. He gets +2/+2. So effectively becomes Mat 10, Power 20 with Acquire. Pretty awesome. With Witch Hound and Perdition. So yeah, Servath REZNIK, his feat is probably the one thing that I think really needs a bit of looking at. So you've got the ability to completely deny transfers for a Warlock. So if you can get into a situation where you can charge and put a Warlock in your control area, and REZNIK can charge 10 inches, so he has an effective 22-inch threat range of that, you can strip off all Fury points, which means 1 Reckoner shot or 2 Reckoner shots will potentially just kill someone. That's just stupid. Like, why do people not play this guy? You can kill guys from, and it's hard to stop. Like, it's not something you can stop. If you have your Warcaster up, your Warlock up, boom. It's like an Iris shot that you don't need to hit on, that you just can do like that. Terminus. How does Armor 18 sound, champ? Like, ridiculous. It's obviously a balls to the wall, game-ending sort of play that you would definitely have to consider the context of the game. But it's nice to have up your sleeve the fact that he can charge 10 inches and just strip off Fury points. Like, that's pretty ridiculous. You cannot upkeep any spells, so tagging a Warcaster in your control area is the key to this entire feat. Otherwise, it's an okay feat. Lets you strip off Fury from a Warlock's next turn. You know, you can remove all the Fury points, so he's got to cut himself to get up to Fury, or stop your Jacks from being allocated focus, which means the Jacks are shut down for a turn, which is, you know, nothing special, but it's okay. But if you manage to tag that Warcaster, ridiculous. So, you know, like, I combine that with how good Menoth's shooting is with the Choir. You know, like, put Tristan Durant in this list, and he can fully load up a Redeemer, have a Reckoner on REZNIK, battle both of the guys. REZNIK charges forward after putting 2 focus on the Reckoner, feats, Reckoner shoots, boost hit, boost damage, drop his defense by 2, Redeemer has 2 boosted shots, boosted damage, boom. Like, Warlock over. Peach, stop attacking that. Peach is ridiculous. We're gonna have to go get her. Sorry everyone, I'm sure you're very excited about this. Watching the football again. Peach! Oi! Get out of there. Get out of there. That's not for you. Okay, so I'm back. Peach is not as crazy anymore. So, that's Servath REZNIK. I think he's pretty good. I just think. So you look through Menoth's spells and you think, what are the spells that make Menoth as a faction, you know, unique? And I immediately think Ashes to Ashes, Defender's Ward, Purification, Ignite. Those are the spells that jump to mind for me. There's obviously others like Holy Ward maybe, but for me, if a caster's got Ignite, you have a look at them. They're decent, and he's got Ignite. He's also got a Warjack buff. He's got Hex Blast, so he's got upkeep removal in a faction that is blessed with lots of options for upkeep removal. Hex Blast being the worst one, but Crix is just gagging for fucking Hex Blast. But yeah, he's got Hex Blast, so if you need to, you can potentially strip off that that Arcane Shield on a Storm Wall without needing to shoot it with Iris. So you can't stop it, which is pretty massive. And then next turn you can't allocate focus to him because of the feat. Awesome. Yeah, I've got a feeling he's pretty good. I mean, he's obviously got weaknesses. He's a medium base, which is not fucking great, but. So, Chain Attack rated this guy a C. They gave him, I'm just bringing it up now. They gave him 6 for his feet. Yeah, I think that's probably a little bit low, guys. 3 for board control, understandable. Although he does have the ability to speed guys up. I think that's got to have some value. A 7 for synergy. Most of the Menoth casters have quite a lot of synergy, and he's no different. 8 for aggression. I think as an army, he's going to play quite an aggressive army, and he does want to be upfield, but he's not. I don't think he's that aggressive. Like, I don't think you'd get into situations where he'll be doing a lot of charging and killing guys. I think he'll probably stay in the pocket and use Perdition from 10 inches away. Maybe whack a few of the frontline guys. You'd be aggressive with him when you're feeding, but that's about it, I think. And survivability 6, yeah, probably fair. But I'd be looking at B for this guy. I think B, maybe even B minus, B plus, some form of B. So, alongside Servath REZNIK is his character Warjack, the Scourge of Heresy. Some of the character Warjacks in Menoth are phenomenal. You have the Avatar, phenomenal. You have Fire of Salvation, which I also think is phenomenal. You have Blood of Martyrs, which I think is very, very good. You have Blessing of Vengeance, which I think is phenomenal, although maybe 1 point overpriced for anyone but Sevi. And then you have this guy. He's not anywhere near the level of those other character jacks. And the reason for that is speed 4. He is a melee beatstick in a faction of Reckoners and Avatars, and he's got a couple of abilities that are extremely strong. Arcane Vortex, if you leave a focus point on him, that's P. Haley's ability. But again, if you're using him with REZNIK, you've got Witch Hound, so in a way you kind of want them to cast spells on your battle group, you know, like, and a lot of people will be able to like if they're targeting someone in a unit, they'll be able to target them all that's outside of 3 inches. So you really, yeah, I mean, it's all right. It's better to have it than not have it, but Arcane Assassin, 1 focus point to get Arcane Assassin. Just think about the numbers of this, right? So if you get Arcane Assassin and you charge, let's use a Arcane Shielded Stormwall, assuming for some stupid reason your opponents let you charge an Arcane Shielded Stormwall, and you've got your Choir buff up. So you are Power Strength 20 versus Armor 22. So you can spend 1 focus point and get effectively dice +1 on your attacks, or you can spend 0 focus points and have another attack that's at -2. So depending on how many attacks you're actually going to be getting will determine whether that's a worthwhile trade. In some cases it will actually be worthwhile, but that is probably the only situation where it will ever be anywhere near worthwhile. In most other cases you are better off just taking a Power Strength 20 attack, like ridiculous. Oh, by the way, it's got Purgation. So that immediately takes it to you are far better off attacking with a weapon. Yeah, because it's dice -2, that's 10 damage, so 8 damage, versus wasting a focus point to make it 10 damage. Silly. Definitely not all that useful. Again, when I say not useful, something like Defense 19 Warcaster, like Sorcerer, Arcane Assassin takes it down to Defense 16, and all of a sudden you'll hit her on 7s instead of 10s. Big deal. But yeah, if your opponent's letting Scourge of Heresy get into Sorcerer, you've got that game fucking won already. So it can be bonded to REZNIK for an extra focus point, 4 focus. Yeah, I'm fine, thanks. Chain weapon with Thresher, same as Amon. Not bad for a Power Strength 18 weapon, but look, I think on the chassis that he's on, you are better off spending 1 point less and getting a Reckoner, because you will get Defense 12 and you will get the same power weapon and you will have Speed 5 with Reach. So, yeah, he's alright, you know, but in a faction that is blessed with incredible jacks, why settle for just alright when you could go something that's awesome? But the final piece of the puzzle today, the final... Oh, is that a try? It is a try. BJ Leilua. The final piece of the puzzle, and the reason why everyone hates playing Menoth, the Choir of Menoth. They're 2 points, 3 points for 4 or 6 models. They are what makes Menoth as a faction so phenomenal for utilising Warjacks. If you ever played Signar and against Signar and you've used Kador or Krix or one of those factions that just has to eat it, just has to cop the shooting as you walk in, like, there'll be games where the Deathjack just doesn't get to make an attack, doesn't get to do anything because he gets shot before he gets there. And Kador Jacks, you know, their defense 10, armor 20, they will get shot down, no problems at all. And if they don't, Signar will just go pew, 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 and push them back. Bad example because their shooting is magical, so they'd still be able to do that too, Menoth Jacks, but let's pretend I didn't say that. At least they won't get damaged, that's the point. That's the point, mate. They're not going to get damaged. So, you've got 3 very obvious situations to use these 3 abilities, like no shooting. You played against Legion, you played against Signar, you walk across the board, it lets your guys stay safe, they can't be targeted by shooting, unless it's magical, which means Ayana and Halter are priority, which means you take Visgoth Raven, tap a Reckoner into Ayana, kill her first turn, boom boom, happy days. Your second option is magic, you know, if your opponent's got a backlash, if your opponent's got Parasite, if your opponent's got a spell that is going to really punching the balls. If your opponent's got druids or battle mages and they're going to do lots of draggy pull shenanigans, just drop no spells. And then when you're about to make sweet, sweet chin music with your weapons, you throw +2 to attack and damage rolls. Like, ridiculous. I don't know. They're the pain giver beast handlers. They're the ubiquitous must-have unit in this faction, and yeah, I think they're absolutely phenomenal. Yep. Part of being a good Menoth player is learning how to protect them. I think there's lots of things you need to do to keep them safe, because if you have Choir in the late game, you are absolutely 100% going to win the game. If you do not have Choir, you're still a decent chance, depending on if you've got Warjacks left. But the Choir just tune them up. Ridiculous. So, played in tournament yesterday at Irresistible Force. I took Kador. I had Sorcerer 1 and Butcher 1, trying to find a list for the WTC to pair with my main list. No success for Big Deno. I only went 3-1 and came third, which was a little disappointing. But the guy who won the tournament was Jed, Superstar, with Big Mac, 3 Makita, and he managed to beat me on scenario with that list. I was using my Butcher list, which had a Conquest, and I just couldn't quite get the Conquest in the right position thanks to a wall. And he did well to block me up, took the ballsy option, ran Makita, didn't do anything with it, just ran her and controlled a flag. And that was what happened. I couldn't quite get enough models there to stop her from winning on the next turn. So really well played by Jed, and look, we had a great time. Played a couple of other games, obviously. Sparty, Matt Kelly was a great game with Legion, P Vale. I then played P Sorcerer against Rob Hancock and P Sorcerer against Mick Weir, and managed to assassinate both of those guys in the top of 2 with P Sorcerer, which is hard to stop if you don't know what's coming. It's even cooler when they've got stealth models and they're like trying to block line of sight to their caster with stealth models. Anyway, so I had a fun day yesterday. Played a couple more games this morning. And I've got a big tournament coming up next weekend, which I'm going to take my 2 WTC lists, the ones I think I'm settling on now. So that'll be fun. But Menoth, still a few months away from playing. I will be honest, I think it was a mistake for me to start doing this, because all I want to do right now is play Menoth. Rookie error. Bad move from Big Deno, but it'll be okay. Thank you, everyone. It's been a pleasure. I'll speak to you all again on the next episode of Wrack City Bitch, musing on Menoth with Big Deno. See you guys. Actually smells like blueberry muffins, by the way. It is just ridiculous. It smells just like muffins. It's like I live in a bakery. Awesome.